Hey guys, hey Gene, welcome to the GP2 series highlights for week 4 on Paleto Bay Grand Prix. If you guys were expecting the 5th Grand Prix to be this week, that's not the case because this week we're all having a break for F1 Championships and GP2s. Expect to see the 5th Grand Prix for both of these series next week on Wednesday and Friday. After that, of course, going to be every week for every other Grand Prix until the 9th one, which will be the last one, and after that will be over. But so far everything's looking great for this particular race. For the 4th Grand Prix, there was 27 laps in total in the pit window between lap 15 and 18, and once again unexpected qualifying results with Dinar starting in pole position. And so far for every other race, it's been a different person starting in pole, with the order being completely different this time, where usually you'd see the pace pimmels with TJ UK and Evil turning in top 10, but now they just about barely made it, and it's quite spaced out between them and every other person pretty much where they stand, with Rombo starting 3rd actually, and Prince Vince in 2nd, Dezerka in 5th as usual, Haydos in 4th this time. And it's looking interesting because unfortunately, first of all, Dezerka, qualifying great and all, but he did not end up taking part in the race again due to his connection. And at the beginning of the race, there was a lot of collisions here as expected due to a tight track. So the safety car at this point was called out, and unfortunately Minitempo lost out a few positions, starting from 7th, going all the way down to 9th position. So a lot of debris being caused there with the fire hydrants, and this was all expected. The same thing happened to F1 Championships. The highlights for that will be out pretty soon, as the race has already been done for that 4th Grand Prix. So here's the safety car going off now from the lap, and this is where the race sets off from the hairpin. It's an interesting point actually. On the F1 Championship, the safety car actually went off right here, just kept going straight, so it was easier to execute. But either way, this went smoothly into lap 4, by the way, and this is where a race kicked off. There was actually a safety car during this race halfway through for some reason. I couldn't figure out why, but there was quite a few disconnections. This time Haydos ended up leaving, so that's crazy. He started 4th as well, so there's quite a few people in the top 10 that were disconnecting. Even myself, I disconnected right off the bat again. The last GP2 race I disconnected about 10 minutes in. This time I disconnected, similar situation, but right when the race set off, so I was quite annoyed. Now Minitempo's in 6th place, and he's having a battle against Lara in 5th. He's trying to make a move, but couldn't do that during the chicane. My belly's making some weird ass noise, bro. Alright, it's lap 5 now. I was going to skip this through. He's trying to make a move. He does manage to grab a pretty aggressive overtake against Lara, as Lara decided to open up the inside there on the right-left. And this time Dezerka left the race, of course, due to his connection. Was sitting out anyway. Nice little battle going down there between Evil Tunic there and Lara. Samora is coming through, and every other person as well from the pack. Asensei in last place there, from Venom ahead of him. So Dinar's comfortably in lead, with Agar in 2nd, Prince Vince in 3rd, Rumbo in 4th now. Minitempo just grabs a position against Lara, so Minitempo's in 5th, Lara's in 6th, Epsilon in 7th, Richard Owens in 8th. And here's Evil Tunic and TJ coming from the back of the pack from 10th and 11th, trying to go that top 10 spot. So into lap 6 now. Here's a nice little shot from El Mister. Dinar is pulling away from 2nd place. Agar's there. And Rombo grabs 3rd position. Prince Vince in 4th. And Minitempo 5th. Lara in 6th. Epsilon in 7th. Richard Owens in 8th. And then there's Samora in 10th, with Evil Tunic and TJ pushing through. Now in the exact same lap halfway through the track, if you guys notice Samora, Evil Tunic and TJ's position back then, they were 10th, 11th and 12th. But their position changes to 8th, 9th and 10th because Richard Owens and Venom get into a little collision and they end up losing positions. You can see there, and Samora is in 8th, Evil Tunic and TJ 9th and 10th. So that's quite interesting. But Minitempo also grabs a position against his teammate Prince Vince on the inside of the hairpin. A little bit of communication went there. It seemed like Minitempo was on pace and more consistent than Prince Vince on this track, and that would also show throughout the rest of the race. So into lap 7 now, out of 27, Minitempo in pretty much comfortable 4th position ahead of his teammate. Nothing to worry about there. Dinar and Agar going at it, peeling away from the rest of the pack. And 3rd place Rombo still keeping a consistent 4th and 5th there. Minitempo, Prince, Lara and Epsilon, with now I believe that's TJ grabbing a position against Samora, and just Evil Tunic behind Samora and the Matt Collett. And Sensei having a battle there with, I believe, Richard. So Agar there going at it. See another shot from the same lap. Rumbo, Minitempo, Prince Vince, Lara, and then Epsilon should be just there, along with the rest of the pack. TJ, Evil Tunic, and Samora. Samora's lost out a couple of positions just from that one lap. So that's interesting. It's lap 8 now. and Mini Temper's closing up, but then makes a mistake, understeers into the wooden pole, loses out, now down to 6th, and it ends up going into 7th position by Epsilon grabbing 6th position there. So that's interesting. And a few laps in, Mini Temper makes a mistake with a comfortable 4th position, going all the way down to 7th. So that's crazy. Now you see Evil Twinnick and Pace Pimmels, these two guys are pulling away from Samora, who's currently in 10th position. And more mistakes coming in from Mini Temper. They're trying to grab the outside, but track extends. But Agar has closed the gap between him and 1st place, who's Dean R. So there's an interesting battle going on there. Grumbo's keeping a consistent 3rd place. Now Prince Vince in 4th. And now the rest of the pack coming along with Evil Twinnick and his teammate TJ keeping it going together. Now, of course, Samora has also lost out another position on this lap against Matt Collett, who's Rombo's teammate. Now, Mini Temper's trying to make moves here on the inside against Epsilon. Doesn't work out. And here's the other shot. 3rd position, Rombo, Prince Vince having a battle with Lera there. Lera's applying pressure. Now, if you see in the top left, there's some pressure being applied by Peace Pimmel's team against Mini Temper, but Mini Temper's not phased, defending at the same time, trying to attack against Emogod Epsilon, trying to grab back that 6th position. Epsilon was forced into an error, and Mini Temper goes for a very good move there, getting his 6th position back from losing out from 4th place from the mistake that he made earlier on. Here he comes for the shot. It's a nice battle here for 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th, with 10th place coming back with quite a bit of gap between him and 9th place, who's the back of Pace Pimmels. So in 6th place now, Mini Temper. Unfortunately, Pace Pimmel's teammate TJUK disconnects at this point. So many disconnects. I was going to call for a restart, man, but hey, it wasn't called for. Into lap 10 now. Here's the positions. Dinar in 1st, Agar in 2nd, Rombo in 3rd, Prince Vince in 4th, Lara in 5th, Mini Temper in 6th, Epsilon in 7th, and Evil Twinnick in 8th. And Matt Collett in 9th, and Samora in 10th. Technically, you know, TGUK should be in top 10 there. It's unfortunate stuff. So end of the safety car lap. This is where the safety car was called out again. I wasn't sure why on lap 10, like I said at the start. No idea what happened there. Probably because of the DC, I don't even know. Can't be because of that. Surely not, man. There must have been a collision at the back of the pack somewhere. A major collision where the gap was extremely big, where someone was about to get lapped or something. So going into lap 12 actually, because lap 11 was the safety car lap, Mini Temper had a pretty good opportunity to get his positions back due to the safety car where the gaps were all closed. Must have been extremely frustrating for those who had the gap in the lead because of the people at the back causing the safety car. That meant that Mini Temper actually took advantage of the situation, grabbed the position against Lara for 5th position from 6th. Remember, before the safety car was called, he had quite a bit of a gap to catch up, so this must have been extremely frustrating for Lara and also for Rombo at this point, because he ends up losing the position against Mini Temper. So Mini Temper gets 2 overtakes within the same lap after the safety car gets called out and goes away, of course. And once it gets released, he gets 2 down positions. So he's back with his teammate there in 3rd position, just ahead of Prince Vince. And Mini Temper's now in 4th place, getting back 2 positions after his mistake earlier on before the safety car was called out, where he lost out positions all the way to 7th. So he's making a decent comeback at this point. Interesting stuff. So there's Lara Evil having a battle with Rombo just ahead and Mini Temper ahead of him. And here's a little top 3 battle as well, with Agar applying a lot of pressure to Dinar. Don't forget about the top 2 battle there with Prince pretty much trailing along. And Evil's trying to apply pressure against Lara. Here's Epsilon and Samora going at it with Sensei for the top 10. So here we are, near enough approaching pit stop and lap 14, I believe, or lap 13, sorry. And here's Mini Temper and Prince Vince, the 2 teammates, at it on the hairpin, approaching the next lap. A lot of interesting stuff happening during this race, back and forth action. Here you'll see Epsilon down to 8th place now, as Evil's actually managed to grab a position against him during that previous battle. Here's bumper to bumper action with Dinar and Agar actually. The gap between 2nd to 3rd. Prince Vince has made a mistake, in fact, and therefore Mini Temper's closed the gap on him, with Rombo also there with Evil Twinnick and Lara having a battle, and Samora seems to have grabbed the position. They're not sure just yet. Perhaps Omega Epsilon has defending the inside. We'll see it from this shot, as you see there. Pretty close, intense action throughout. Agar and Dinar for top 2. Prince Vince now got a gap against Mini Temper, while Mini Temper and Rombo going at it with Lara and Evil Twinnick also going at it. So there's battle all over the ground right now for top 10. And here we are. Epsilon still holding his position against Samora, while Sensei going at it. Matt Collett makes a mistake with Venom's on the outside, but still managed to hold his position. And Richard Owens is also going for a nice little contestant for the aggressive move as well, whilst going into lap 15, where the pit window is actually open now between these 3 laps. And so far things are looking roughly the same, but Mini Temper's pulling away from Rombo, or Rombo's being consistent so far throughout the race. Lera and Evil Twinning having a battle there still. Evil Twinning applying pressure against Lera. Oh my god, Epsilon and Samora also having a battle there. So first, second, going through. And let's see. Third place, Prince. Fourth is Mini Temper. Fifth, Rombo. Here we are. Fifth place, Rombo. Sixth, Lera. Seventh, Evil Twinning. Still going at it there. In eighth place, who do we see in eighth? Epsilon. And then Samora's trying to make a move on the outside. Doesn't do it. But, Samora's at ninth place. 10th place going at it there at the back. So crazy stuff. So 10th place actually Sense at 87. Here's the pit stop on lap, I believe lap 15, end of lap 15. And skipping through the 20 seconds there. Mini Temper and Prince Vince going at the same time. That actually worked out pretty well for Mini Temper. You'll see as it approaches lap 16 when it gets skipped straight through the pit window into lap 18, where everyone's now pretty much has done their pit stop at this point when Mini Temper approaches the hairpin. So if we take a look now, this worked out really well for him, because in fact right now he's in first position, but of course, you know, DNR obviously had a run off here through the pit window, grabs his first position back again, but something happened to Agar. Something bad happened to Agar during the pit window. So an incredible pit stop for Mini Temper, actually an incredible comeback from his first mistake where he went down to 7th position. Now into second spot, contesting for pole is for his lead right now. So this is crazy, applying pressure, replacing Agar's spot. Now Mini Temper's there after the first pit window. So the pit window strategy definitely worked for him, and the changes, as you can see, evidently has been made. Agar is now in pretty much 4th position and Prince Vince is 3rd. So this is looking good for Team Tesco Connection. Here's the current standings. DNR in the lead, Mini Temper in 2nd, Prince Vince in 3rd, Agar in 4th, Rombo in 5th, Evil Twinning in 6th, Lera in 7th. So Evil Twinning has managed to grab a position against Lera there from the pit stop. 8th position is Epsilon, 9th is Sensei, and Samora down to 10th from Sensei, grabbing 9th from 10th. So crazy stuff. Here is an interesting controversial point and a controversial battle where I'll let you guys decide in the comment section below as to how you guys take this little battle into your own view, because it's one of those things that depends on opinions. Personally, for me, I think DNR was defending, or wasn't really defending properly, and was being a bit desperate with Mini Temper, who could have easily gone for multiple overtakes. But what you see right now is kind of crazy with this battle. I've never really witnessed such intensity before. There's a huge gap between 2nd and 3rd. As you see, Prince Vince makes a mistake, now in 3rd place. And there you see Agar trailing by, applying pressure against that, with Rombo there, with Evil Twinning and Lera. So let's see. Here's Mini Temper trying to grab the inside. He's already got the overtake. In my opinion, he's already had the overtake. You know, DNR should have allowed him, because DNR left the inside open, and DNR just kept going without being aware of the other person making the move. So in that situation, Mini Temper should have never let go of the gas and let him through. But Mini Temper thought he was in the wrong. So that's quite controversial now. Of course, props to Mini Temper for being a good sport and allowing DNR to go through in that situation because of the heat of the moment. Anything could have happened there. You know, Mini Temper could have easily held that position, which he rightfully should have. But going into lap 21, things are getting intense, man. So Mini Temper's going at it again. You know, he obviously knows he's got the upper hand against DNR right here. The problem is DNR plays on the closest camera view. He can't really see any of the cars around him. So his reaction time to cars around is not going to be that great. So bumper to bumper stuff there for top 2 right now. Huge gap between 2nd and 3rd. But Prince Vince actually ends up making a mistake and loses a couple of positions against Rombo and Agar's. Agar's currently in 3rd place. Rombo's in 4th. And Evil Twinning in 5th. And Prince Vince is down to 6th from 3rd spot. So look at this. DNR, of course, trying to defend the inside there. Makes a mistake. Mini Temper trying to go for it on the inside. He could have easily done so if he let go of the throttle slightly. Did not make any contact with the bumper of DNR's overstay. DNR grabs the inside there, and this once again it's quite an aggressive stuff here between the two. But once again, Mini Temper felt like he was in the wrong, so he allows DNR to go through to grab first again. So you know, it's twice now. Things are getting way too feisty up in here, brothers, you know what I mean? So going into lap 22 out of 27, things are heating up for GP2, man. DNR's desperate to hold that first position after doing so well throughout the race. This is where racecraft really kicks into play when both cars are bumper to bumper. So while we're paying attention to that, you know, DNR oversteers slightly there. Once again, blocks off Mini Temper. Mini Temper's trying everything right now. But here you see the cars coming through 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th, while Prince Vince applying pressure. Here's the current positions. Prince Vince dropping down to 6th, Epsilon in 7th, Sensei in 8th. Lera losing a few positions all the way down to 9th place now. So yeah, Samora's in 10th still. Interesting stuff. You know, Lera was for a while in 5th place, but dropping all the way down to 9th from having a battle with Evil at one point in 6th as well, dropping 9th. So that's crazy. So action here on the chicane, little bit of brake checking there. That's interesting as well from Dinar. Mini Temper at this point, this, you know, must be quite pissed off, and he clearly was down the microphone there. Agar, however, if you look quite close, Agar's creeping up from all of that battle happening from top to them. These two guys holding each other off, but Agar has got all that space to build up time. So he's building up a lot of time right now in 3rd spot, catching up to 2nd and 1st. So this is going to be interesting, man. So let's take a look for the next lap, going into lap 23 out of 27. Things are getting close to the finish now. Dinar and Mini Temper still really close to each other. Thing is, Mini Temper's getting really awesome exits from these corners compared to Dinar, while Dinar's just holding his racing line. But the problem is Dinar wasn't really defending properly in my eyes, just the way I saw this footage. You see Agar's creeping up, you know, from 2nd to 3rd. The gap has closed quite drastically. And you see there, 4th and 5th are still going at it with Evil Twin holding that position. Right, so let's take a look, right? So here we are into lap 23. And Mini Temper tries a move on the inside, doesn't work out. Of course, from that point, he was at fault. And this is where Agar sneaks in 2nd and grabs 1st from that collision. Huge controversial moment here. Huge size from Dinar and Mini Temper. So at this point, you know, Mini Temper's extremely pissed off from all of the incidents beforehand. Now Agar's made the most of it from pick dynos, and he's now in 1st. Remember, before the previous, you know, Grand Prix for Seed Circuit, Agar actually ended up winning it. So in this position right now, Agar's looking good from lap 24 out of 27. You know, 4 more laps to go from this point. Yo, man, the tables have turned. You would have never expected this, but from the constant controversial points here, and there's another one. Look at this. Dinar's trying to stick to the racing line, not even aware of the other car. At this point, you know, Mini Temper's just lost the plot. Like, not even lost the plot. Like, he should have had the position anyway from the 1st place. And this is where I'm trying to ask from you guys' point of view. Did you guys think that particular collision, you know, should have never happened in the 1st place, because Mini Temper should have never been there? But even in that case of the collision, I still felt Dinar was in the wrong, because he was not aware of the person next to him, who was Mini Temper, who rightfully had that position. Now he just kept going without waiting this time. But in my opinion, he should have never waited for the previous incidents anyway, except for the one of that huge takeout when Agar actually managed to take advantage, who is now currently in the lead with a huge gap from 1st and 2nd, who's currently Mini Temper in 2nd place. With 3rd place, you've got Prince, Vince, and then 4th and 5th going at it there. Dinar now in 4th place, dropping down a few positions. 5th place, Evil Twinix. So Prince Vince back into 3rd from his mistake, who's actually temporarily in 6th place. Now Rombo's in 6th, Epsilon in 7th, Sensei in 8th. With a few more laps to go, Lera is still in 9th place, and in 10th is Samora. What a race this has been. Back and forth action all over every single lap. You know, you would not predict this. I'm telling you, even with the bets, people were shocked on the stream. They weren't expecting these positions. Lap 26 out of 27, 2 more laps to go into lap 26 now. Agar still comfortably in the lead, with Mini Temper slowly creeping up. Huge gap between 2nd and 3rd, with Prince Vince there comfortably in 3rd place with his teammate Team Tesco racking up the points for Team Tesco. Of course, the points were tied from the previous race between Pierce Pimmels. Unfortunately, they're losing a lot of points now because TJUK, of course, disconnected. Here comes the rest of the pack with Elgard, Epsilon, Sensei, Lera, and there's Samora fighting for that 9th spot. You know, 9th place battle. There's 8th place battle, 7th place battle all over the place right now. But here's Dinar creeping through from 4th position. Evil Twinic in 5th. And Rombo is in 6th. And, you know, 7th, 8th, and 9th, and 10th is pretty much going to be interesting on the last lap. You guys will see that as we are now approaching the final lap. Things pretty much look the same. There was a retired car there. I think it was Venom, who was last place. He allowed the lapped cars to go through. So he was the only car that got lapped. Turned out to be only 14 races at the end of all the DCs. So that's quite unfortunate. It's supposed to be 22 in total. A few cars, of course, did not turn up. You know, a few disconnections, a few people lagging. I have to sit out. So here we are with Epsilon in, I believe, 7th. And Sensei in 8th. With Lera 9th and 10th. If you take a look on the map of El Mister, on the left-hand side, the bumpy left-hander, Epsilon makes a huge mistake. It ends up losing all those positions back from 7th to 10th place. And in fact, what happens is Lera grabs 8th place from 9th, and Tamora is in 9th. Sorry, yeah. So as you can see right there, just on the last lap, Epsilon chokes to 7th and goes down to 10th. So Samora is in 9th, Lera in 8th, 7th is Sensei, Rumbo in 6th, Dinar in 5th position. Evil actually grabs his position against Dinar for 4th, and Prince Vince in 3rd, and Mini Temper in 2nd. Agar grabs a win. So that was an interesting race. On the last lap, Evil Tunic managed to grab a position against Dinar. So Dinar had a shocking race after a fantastic start. The final few laps, everything went downhill from quite a few controversial moments. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of that race. What you guys think of that battle between Mini Temper and Dinar, which they ended up getting to collision afterwards with all of those little bits of collisions. Who do you think was in the wrong there? I'd like to hear from you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the GP2 series so far. I wasn't expecting it to be like this. So yeah, I'll see you guys soon for the next week's Grand Prix. I'll keep you guys updated on that on YouTube. Check your sign now. Good night, peace. Yeah! Hey guys, here, welcome to the highlights for GP2 series week number 3 Grapeseed Grand Prix, or Seed Circuit, the actual track name. This week there were 16